Is this the best alternative way to cook steak? Let's find out.
Big thanks to Napoleon Grills for sponsoring this episode.
Sometimes you just need to get the job done. And this might be the best way, because who doesn't own a shovel? Sometimes cooking a steak like this might feel like a gimmick, but as a redneck myself, I can tell you that this might come in handy when you don't have the proper barbecue tools at hand. And then when you think about it, if you have a group of friends around the bonfire and everybody gets out a shovel and cooks something on it, it can be quite fun as well. So therefore, we're cooking a steak redneck style. And if you're doing something like that, you're not gonna use the most expensive steak. No. You're gonna use a proper redneck steak, the chuck steak. And there she is. Of course, I wanna make sure it fits my shovel. And look at that, it does. Well, the steak is the right size for the shovel, or the shovel is the right size for the steak. Either way, this is gonna work out perfect. Except there's one thing we need to overcome. You see, if you buy a new shovel, it has coating on it and that needs to go. If you already have a used shovel, you want to make sure you clean it up properly. You want to go down to the bare steel, brush off anything like rust, sand, or any other debris. So nobody likes chewing on sand while eating a steak. And with those obvious instructions out of the way, we're going to fire up the barbecue. I'll be using the Napoleon Kettle Grill Pro. And I'm going to use a big block of wood to stabilize my shovel on. If it's too low to be level, you need to put on some brick or something else that will elevate it. Now we have to wait for that charcoal to start up, but it's also a great moment to burn off any debris that you have left on your grill or seasoning that came out of the factory. So that is what I'm going to do while lighting up my charcoal. When the charcoal's lit and really hot, I'm going to brush off any debris that's still left on the shovel to make it super clean and ready to be cooked on. Now it's time for the next part of our redneck cook, because you can't have a proper steak without good seasoning. I'll be using the PitmasterX Texas seasoning. It's got salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder. I'm going to put it on the chuck steak, and chuck steak has plenty of beef flavor, so you can put on a little bit of extra seasoning. Now on standby here I have a little bit of rosemary, 2 cloves of garlic. And this might just be the best part. You see, I recently roasted a lot of garlic, and in those recipes I didn't need that butter anymore. But here's the leftover butter from that garlic roast. Of course, I didn't throw that out. I understand if you don't have this on standby, but I definitely recommend making some for yourself. I'm gonna put a couple of slices of butter right here on the plank, so once I start cooking, all I have to do is pick it up with my tongue and put it on. So now it's time to get that shovel out and look at it. I was a bit sneaky, I seasoned it with a little bit of olive oil. So now it's the most non-stick shovel in the world. I'm gonna put it straight over the fire, let it rest over that block of wood, and then all I need to do is break up a little bit of butter and see how hot it is. Once the butter's melted and starts bubbling, I know it's time to put on this steak. And just like that, we're ready to start cooking. Let's get that steak on and start grilling. Oh yeah. This is actually going really well. Just gonna carefully lift up that chuck steak. Slowly getting there. Gonna turn it, making sure it cooks even. Now on the sides, I'm gonna stick in a little bit of rosemary and a little bit of garlic. A little bit more butter. You see, there's no such thing as too much butter. Time to take the steak and flip it over. And that's the cool thing. Whoa, you see it's kind of hot. And with such a big angle, it's easier to remove it from the heat. Look at that. Starting to look good. It's actually going a little bit fast, so I'm just going to hold it here, slow it down from the fire a little bit, just lay it directly on the block. And again, I'm adding a little bit more butter to the steak. I want to have butter on all sides. I'm going to crush the garlic like that, and then with the end of my tongue I'm just going to rub it on. And do the same with the rosemary, just put it on the steak. And the smart thing, of course, to do is to get yourself a quart thermometer so you can keep track of that temperature inside the steak. We're about halfway there, and I just flipped it around, but we're going a little fast. So I'm going to keep my eye on that temperature and make sure we don't overcook or undercook the steak. Time to take the steak off. Let's put it on the board. I'm going to take a little bit of that butter, let it drip onto the steak. As a matter of fact, I got 2 lumps left. I'm going to put them right here, because we got to let this steak rest. You might as well melt some of that butter on top of it. Delicious garlic butter. All right, I'm going to set this aside, let the rest burn off, and you can always reuse that shovel. I'm going to give this steak about 5 minutes to let it rest, cool down a little bit on the outside, warm up on the inside, let the fluids just stream back throughout that steak. and then slice into it. Now let's give this a try. There we go. Ooh, that is one juicy looking steak. Using a thermometer always pays off at the end result. Well, I'd say we're gonna give this steak a try. I'm just gonna let it fall in the juices. The redneck shovel steak. The chuck steak is always a little bit more work to chew on, but it's really good in flavor. You gotta make sure that you buy the chuck steak that connects to the end of the ribeye. That's the best one you can get. And cooking it on a shovel steak was fun to do, and at the same time we got that beautiful crust. Hope you guys are gonna get your shovels out and grill your own redneck shovel steak. If you enjoyed this video, then leave us a big thumbs up and a comment down below. In the meantime, eet smakelijk and keep on grilling. Cheers.